On the next episode of World in America, we meet a people who hail from a group of 10 beautiful islands off of West Africa, Cape Verde. We'll meet the Lumbus, who love the States and at the same time garner much love for Cape Verde. Finally, we'll taste the delicious CapeVerdean cuisine and see how music and storytelling keep their culture alive. All coming up on the next World in America.
CapeVerdeans were a very dynamic group of people who managed to make something out of nothing.
Family is very important for CapeVerdeans.
Who's your mother? Who's your father? Who's your grandmother? Ah, we're cousins.
We are practically 1 degree of separation. Everybody knows everybody.
We are not afraid to try anything.
One thing I think that's unique about Cape Verde is it's a connector between the old world, if you will, and the new, because we have our foot sort of one foot in Africa and 1 foot in the new world. Cape Verde is located 300 miles off the west coast of Senegal, off of Africa, in the Atlantic Ocean. There are 10 islands officially. When the Portuguese first discovered it, it was completely green, so they named it Cape Verde, which means the Green Cape. Which is pretty ironic, seeing as a lot of the islands are barren and we suffer from extreme drought. It's volcanic in nature, so a lot of the terrain is really rugged and rocky. Cape Verde was discovered in the 14th century by the Portuguese. After a while, once they realized that most of the land was not going to be suitable for agricultural production, they made Cape Verde their slave trading post for the Americas. And through this sad existence, the Cape Verdean population has been created primarily of Portuguese, and then of course the enslaved Africans that they brought over from the mainland. Those populations began to mix. It was a long period of heavy colonization and marginalization on the hands of the Portuguese government. Cape Verde was actually the last African country to get its independence. The independence took place on July 5th of 1975, so we're a relatively young country. Population in Cape Verde is just under 500,000. It's a democratic society. It's actually been awarded the distinction of being the most successful democracy in Africa. Cape Verdeans have the distinction of being the first African group to voluntarily migrate to the United States. We're the longest migration of Africans in this country. The first major wave began in the early 1900s through about 1921, and most of those people came over on whaling ships.
New Bedford has been called the 11th island for a lot of reasons. Most of the people came to New Bedford searching for a better life. New Bedford was the whaling capital of the world. The ships would start here, and they would go to places like they go to Madeira and the Azores and Cape Verde, and they'd get supplies, and along the way they would get crew members. Behind me is the Lagoda, which is a model, a replica of a whaling ship that sailed out of New Bedford. Now, it's a 1/10 model. While the men were sailing, they'd go out on whaling voyages for multiple years. But their wives, their daughters, their mothers would be here building the community so that they had something to come back to.
So how desperate and how brave these men were to leave the Cape Verde Islands and take a job on a passing whaling ship, knowing they're going to go out into the oceans of the world and pick a fight with the largest mammal on the planet. But they did it because they needed to survive, they needed to take care of their families, to seek their fortune. I'm Len Cabral, and I'm the storyteller, and I'm glad to be in your school.
The history and the experience of these courageous people are kept alive through the tradition of storytelling. Len Cabral, a Cape Verdean American, has been telling stories for more than 3 decades.
I've been telling stories professionally for 33 years. Do rabbits have long or short tails? Well, now they do. But I'll tell you something. Long ago, this is a long time ago, rabbits had very, very long tails. Since the beginning of time, no matter what culture you're from, people have done 2 things. They broke bread, means they ate, and they told stories while they were doing it. And people still sit down, eat, and tell stories. And in the CapeVerdean community, it's no different. People sit around the table and they tell stories. I'm gonna tell you the story that my grandmother, we called her Mamai, what she told me about the Cape Verde Islands. There's a fella over there in Cape Verde. They call him No Lobe. No Lobe is tricky. No Lobe is lazy. No Lobe wants something for nothing all the time. That's No Lobe. Every culture has a trickster, and the trickster's job is to show us the boundaries of society, what's considered good behavior and what's considered bad behavior, so we'll know how to behave. So that's how we tell stories about No Lobe, about being lazy, and this is what happens when you think you know everything and don't want to help anybody. This is what happens. So there are lessons tales, and so every culture has these lessons stories.
I like it when Mr. Cabral tells the stories because he tells that it comes from the grandmother and his mother and his ancestors.
It was really cool, and I just really liked how he acted out the emotions and told the stories.
We learn more about people through their stories. We learn about different cultures, places that we've never been to or read about. We can hear their stories and say, oh, they're similar to my grandmother's stories.
While Len Cabral tells Cape Verdean stories of the past, there are those whose lives will become treasured stories for future generations. Meet the Lumbus. They've been calling America home for the last 3 decades.
My name is Jeannie Lumba. I'm married. I have 3 beautiful daughters, age 14, 12, and 10, Jacinta, Sarah, and Sophia. My husband's name is John.
Originally from Cape Verde Islands, I came to the United States back in 1981.
I came to the United States at the age of 14, 1979, do the math.
My family decided to come to U.S. or leave the island to get us better education.
My mom left Cape Verde in 1968, and I was age of 3. My sister, my youngest sister, was the age of 2. She came to the United States in search of a better job and a better life for us. It took 11 years before she could send for us to come and live with her here in the United States. So we pretty much grew up with not knowing her. When we met her at the age of 14, I knew her from pictures only. I had never spoken with her, never seen her in person.
The day that uprooted Jeannie from her lovely Cape Verde has left a wound that is still fresh, even after 30 years.
Last day in Cape Verde was the toughest day thus far for me. I remember that day very clearly. Everybody came out to say goodbye to us. Seeing my grandmother, I don't like to go there because because it's still very emotional, although it's been 30 years. Everybody, said their goodbye, and, they just walked us to the car, and we just drove away.
It was not in Cape Verde, but 4,000 miles away in Connecticut, where John and Jeannie met and found a kindred heart in each other.
French class, Mr. Cherry, remember?
Mr. Cherry, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and very shy kid in the front of the class. I thought he was Portuguese. He came from Portugal and he spoke Portuguese then. And then I was pretty surprised when I found out that he was CapeVerdean.
It started me walking her to class. And
he following me to class. He asked if he could take me to my prom.
I made her a deal. If she lets me take her to her prom, then I let her go to mine.
Yeah, what a deal. We dated for 7 years, and eventually, after that, we got married. We got married.
Some of the things that I would have loved to have done as a kid, learn to play a musical instrument, particularly violin. I would have loved to be able to play the violin.
When I was 6 years old, I told my mom that I wanted to play the violin, and since then I've been playing.
We try to make sure that all three of our girls take at least one musical instrument. They take lessons.
I love it.
As the Lamba girls mesmerize their parents with their tunes, Jeannie and John contemplate happily about the opportunities America offers them.
The first thing that really made me feel American was getting our home. When we got serious about dating, we started saving money. We paid for our wedding and then started saving for the house. And then when we actually got the house, I felt like, we've arrived. We're now Americans. We're living our American dream.
It sounds like a cliche, it's the best, but it is. America is the best country in the world. The opportunities that it offers, a person like me who had 4th grade education, came to the United States with a huge gap, graduated high school with honors, believe it or not, went on to college, got my 4-year college degree. I became a computer programmer and got a profession that I made pretty good money. And only in America that happened. I really mean it. Only here in America that happened.
Learning English was the initial challenge for the Lambas. But now the struggle is to teach the new generation their mother tongue, Creole.
The way that we try to keep Cape Verde alive in our children is by making sure that our children learn some of the language, although it's difficult because we don't have schools where we can just send our children.
Jacinta, we took her, the first time we made a trip to Cape Verde, she stayed there with my wife for 3 weeks, and she came back speaking Creole.
I don't speak English there, so I had to force myself to learn. It's hard to describe what it's like learning a language because it just comes almost subconsciously.
The ultimate connection for an immigrant family is to give back to their homeland. This is exactly what the Lambas do.
At school, my oldest, Jacinta, who is 14 now, her teacher asked if I would come to school and talk to the children, and I did. And of course, Jacinta did the presentation herself.
I told them that in Cape Verde, you were lucky to be able to have a pencil. And so that caught everyone's attention, and everyone wanted to learn more about Cape Verde.
They couldn't believe that there in Cape Verde, you couldn't run to the store and get a toy, or you may never have a brand new outfit.
After after that presentation, we decided that we wanted to do something for the kids there. And we came up with this idea of putting together kits for Cape Verde. And so we had one set of kit was school supplies, so it would have a notebook, pencils, crayons, rulers, things like that.
Pens and pencils. Yeah, pens and pencils.
And then we put together a second kit, and it was personal hygiene, so we put toothbrushes, soap, toothpaste. We put them together and we made so many kits. We just had one day of just assembling all the kits, and then we would pack them in barrels and we sent them over to Cape Verde.
I also have an organization that I run that's called CapeVerdeans United, and we build a playground for the children in Cape Verde as well as send school supplies, and we make sure that our children are involved in planning the activities, planning the fundraiser, packing the barrels. They are involved in every little aspect.
I personally distributed the kits to all the kids, and when we came back in 4th grade, my 3rd grade class got together and we watched the video of the distribution. First, I wasn't allowed to go, I wasn't going to be able to go because my mom couldn't afford to pay for my plane ticket. But I decided that I wanted to go back so badly, I missed it so much, that I sold sugar cookies. And I raised enough money to pay for my own plane ticket to be able to go to Cape Verde and help my mom build the playground. When people don't have a lot, the little things are what matter, and that's what, as Cape Verdeans, that's what we value, are the little things.
Pawtucket, Rhode Island is home to a substantial Cape Verdean community, and at the same time, to Rosina Restaurant, where you can find a variety of traditional flavors of Cape Verde.
The reason I opened this restaurant is to have a place where anybody can come and enjoy our cuisine and our culture.
Cape Verdean culinary techniques take a juicy steak to a whole new level.
I'm Chef Costa, and I'm going to show you how to do the steak Rosina. First, I'm going to slice it. After we slice our beef, we're going to tenderize it. Use a little bit of salt. We hit up a little bit of oil, and we fry it. Both sides. Might take about 5 minutes, depends on the temperature you want it. We use some garlic. There's a little bit of hot sauce. Special sauce for Rosina style. We got it. Just add a little bit in here. We add a little bit of heavy cream. I fry 1 egg. When the egg is fried, I slick it out, put it right on top of the beef.
No review of Cape Verdean cuisine would be complete without mentioning the traditional cachupa.
Our main dish in Cape Verde is cachupa, which we have every day for dinner.
The ingredients for the cachupa is we have meat, corn, we have collard greens, we got beans, we got 3 different types of beans, the garlic, onions, peppers, we got the yuca, and the sweet potatoes. We do a saute and then we throw it in there and we let it cook for about 2-3 hours. All the ingredients have been cooking perfectly. Now it's time to serve.
Pastel de thune, a crispy and wholesome Cape Verdean side dish, employs tuna fish in a mouth-watering manner.
We're gonna fry it in high heat. Some peppers, some onions, crushed peppers. Now I'm crushing the tuna. A little olive oil. The fish cubes. Take a half of it. Hot sauce. Now it's pretty much done. It's ready to be wrapped up in a wonton. Now that our tuna fillings is ready, we're gonna stuff them in a wonton and fry them after.
If you're ever in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, make sure to check out the Rosina Restaurant for a taste of Cape Verdean cuisine. Music is a universal language. Utilizing this language, Marcy DePina celebrates and shares Cape Verdean music with her listeners once a week.
Once again, you're locked into Caribbean Zone 107.9. You're here with your girl DJ MD, the dance floor doctor, your cure for the Monday blues. That's how we do here on The Movement, Cape Verdean Vibes. I'm a host of a weekly radio show. It's every Monday from 7 to 9 on the Caribbean Zone 107.9 FM in New Jersey. We're also online at CaribbeanZone.com. And basically, I'm the only African on a Caribbean radio station. My mission with this show is sort of twofold. One is to present to Cape Verdeans our music, to help them to remember sort of where we've come from, who we are, and to show kind of what's new and happening. So I play everything. I play tradition, I play new stuff. A lot of the songs that I played for you tonight were classic songs, talking about the types of things that encompass the everyday life in Cape Verde. The second mission is to connect Cape Verdeans with other people of African descent, whether you be African American, Caribbean, or from the mainland Africa. I want to show rhythmically how all of these musics connect, and then from that connection show how we're all one. And I even play music beyond that, because really the human race is all one.
As Cape Verdean Americans continue to cherish and share their traditional music, or keep their storytelling tradition alive, or give back generously to their homeland, we are clearly reminded that the Cape Verdean American community is such a vibrant piece of the American cultural puzzle.